More questions snuck in after I recorded the thing, so I'm going to sneak them in the front here. I tried to set it up the same way, wearing the same shirt. Don't worry, I washed it. That's a lie. I totally didn't. I just pulled it off the pile. I'm going to answer them right now. Jack-a-Punch, do you live near any large bodies of water? No, not really. Wisconsin's got the Great Lakes around it, and like lakes inside, I suppose. Those aren't very big. I could get to them, but it takes a little while driving. And my current time budget for driving somewhere is like 5 minutes. So if it's further than 5 minutes, I can't go there. How did you come across YouTube? I used to watch YouTube a lot, still do. It seemed fun, so I started making videos. Turns out it was fun. That was on my last channel. This channel was because I still think it's fun, but I'm not doing video games anymore. I'm like building things. So life changed, videos remained, but subject changed. Multiple questions from Tate Lennox. Where do you get your sheet metal from? There's a sheet metal supply place around here. I got it there. Also, I got some of it from like the hardware store. It's really expensive at the hardware store, but you don't have to buy 20 feet at a time, so that's nice. Are you good at spelling? No, I'm not. Do you always wear the same shirt? No. How long is your hair? This long. It has been longer, though. How many cars do you have? 4, although one of them's leased. That's my wife's car. That's like the only new, safe one that you can actually fit children in. The rest are kind of death traps. Evil Twin X, you should monetize your videos. That's not really a question, but I just want to say I do kinda. Like, I don't monetize them when they're new. I wait like a couple days so anyone who's going to watch them can watch them and not have to be bothered by a Cialis ad or some stuff before it. Probably not going to monetize this because I'm not doing anything. I'm just talking. Duga Marshall, are we separated at birth? Maybe. How old are you? Where are you from? Do you know your parents? Are you sure? For the record, I'm 28, so if you're not 28, we're not separated at birth. GP Ali Chuck I. You're an odd guy, Paul. Thanks. I know I am. Isn't that the best? Canadian 20K14. It's been a while, my friend. Yes, it has. Hope you had a good Easter. I hope you did too. It has been a while. I'm glad you're here. I know you didn't ask a question, but I just want to say, hey, how are things? Things are good here. D. Bowler. Have the King of Random on your channel. It's not quite that easy. I can't just like call him up, come on my channel. He'll be like, okay. He's pretty busy, I assume. Plus this is like his career and this is just a hobby for me. So he'd probably be better off not focusing his efforts on teaming up with me for anything. B. Pollard 86. Do you get scrap from work? Trey MS, where do you get your copper? These are fairly similar. Yes, a lot of it's from work. My aluminum is mostly from washer and dryer motors. The older ones have like a frame around them, and that's cast in aluminum. A lot of my copper comes from way back in the day. We used to run copper lines into ice makers and refrigerators, and they leak. The water here just eats right through it, so they leak. So we replace them with plastic. So I have all this junk old copper that we can't use anymore that we kept because scrap was worthless and we were too lazy to throw it out. But now I can use it. We also have a whole bunch of unused copper that we can't use anymore because, again, it rots out and it leaks. So I have all this copper. So that's where I got my copper. Once that dries up, I probably won't do copper anymore. No, I'll probably buy some. Copper seems expensive, but like it's not gold. You know, it's affordable enough. And I think that's all because my phone just died. So back to the normal questions. Super Coerin asks, how much gas is needed for melt? I don't know. I really don't know. I tried the gas thing. It melted some stuff. That's where this came from. Video coming soon. And I didn't weigh it before and after, but I have some left. So it didn't take a whole bottle. Simply Jeff says, wow, is it me or does it look like you wrote all these comments? I wish I had that much time. I would probably sleep. I wouldn't do comments even if I had the time. Andy Wilson asks, have you thought of getting cast iron cornbread pan that has corn or other designs to pour your aluminum into? No, I didn't, but that's a cool idea. I do like that idea. I'm trying to find one that has a puzzle. That would be really cool, because then you could stack them all together in like a puzzle shape. That would be neat. Have you found any fossils? If you do, will you show what you found? I assume it's because I said in the previous thing I used to be an archaeology graduate student. Archaeology is studying past human cultures, so it's not like fossils. Although I have found fossils, a couple of them. I don't have them here. One of them, I'll just explain it. There was a small rock, like a river stone, looked like it was used to be sedimentary rock that was like, must have been rounded by the water. Found it on the beach, on a lake, Lake Michigan probably, and it was kind of cracked, but all the cracked pieces were sitting there. Picked it up, opened it up, and there was a little fossil of a shell. That was kind of cool. I don't have it here to show. I think it's at my parents' house. It was a shell. It was kind of cool. your wire job. Maybe do a video of how to wire a compressor. Are you a cop? Because legally you have to tell me if you're a cop. Then everyone can tell you if you mess up so you don't burn your house down. Yeah, so the thing is, because of work, I know how to wire something up properly. I know how it's supposed to look like, all that stuff, and no, I am not going to show you the wiring job I did on that. Because I don't want anyone to see that, because it is perfect. Yep, it is totally fine. Some of the wiring on there isn't even older than I am. So some of it is, though. The wire lugs, they're very close to the right size. Very close. It shouldn't be a problem. Chirpy's Tinkerings. I have a few questions. Why do they call it common sense when you can't usually seem to find people with it? It's a very good question. Shouldn't be common sense then, should it? It should be like logic. And I think logic is not universal. It is not common. Shouldn't they just call it intelligence instead? Yes! Yes, they should. Elijah Hoffland asks, are you ever going to do a live stream? Maybe. The thing is, my computer's in my basement, and it's a desktop, so I can't really get it out here, like with the camera. And I don't want to do like Wi-Fi from my phone, because that never works. It's always a nightmare watching a stream when they're trying to do that. I do have a 100-foot Ethernet cable somewhere, so I could get the internet here, hardwired, but I don't have a computer out here. So maybe. A couple people asked, they want to see the propane burner working. Everyone keeps saying that, so tell you what, I'll cut in a little clip of the propane burner working. There, you happy? That's all you get. Just that couple of seconds. That's it. You'll have to see the finished video later, hopefully Friday, if I get it done. Multiple people, including Dude, and some others have asked, why is my phone stuck in a pair of vice grips on the desk in that video there? I'm surprised no one noticed it earlier. In a video a long time ago, not a long time ago, I think the aluminum cans one or something, I set an ingot down on my phone screen, on my desk, just as a thing to do, because my desk was dirty. And a friend of mine, to protect the innocent, let's call him Alex Nessie, gave me a whole bunch of crap for almost damaging my phone screen. It's apparently like a pet peeve of his. It just like triggers his blind rage. So learning this fact, I've been doing it a lot more, so he can watch and not do anything about it. So that's why that was there. It's in almost every video since the aluminum can one. And I'm going to keep doing it because it might give him a coronary eventually, and that would be fun. Alex Nessie asks, which project are you most looking forward to completing? The Jeep builds, the metal casting, or another project you haven't told us about? That's a very good question. I don't have an answer to it because I kind of don't think about completing the projects. I like making the projects, so fair warning, when I finally start the van one, I may never finish it before I die. Scope creep is just going to overwhelm me, and I'm never going to finish it. But if it keeps me busy forever, I'm fine with it. The Jeep thing, I kind of want to get that done so the kid can use it. Jeep, I'll just say Jeep, because then when the Jeep's done, the kid will drive it, and she'll be all, woo, I have a car! And she'll be really happy, and that'll make me really happy. So that's my answer, the Jeep. Next, alpacas or llamas? Pick one and tell us why. I just have this overwhelming compulsion, like I have to pick llamas or I'm a bad person. So I'm going to pick llamas. Although I have been on an alpaca farm a couple of times. I had a professor who studied domestication, the genetics of domestication in South America, and alpaca farming or whatever. Alpaca herding. What do you do with an alpaca? You don't farm them. Whatever. Anyway, alpacas, they just kind of sit there. They don't do much, and they're furry. So he was awesome though. He had some sheep too. One of the little sheep had a lamb when we were there, like shortly before we were there, and they named the little lamb Tyrion Lamnister, which is like the coolest lamb name ever. Stuart Bremner asks questions. Your nice care. Tell me more. I assume you mean car. The blue one is a Mazda RX-8 R3. The red one is a 323 GTX. It is a Group A rally homologation car, if that means anything to you. And if it doesn't mean anything to you, you are a nerd! Please show us some more woodworking and casting and welding. I grabbed a couple of things. Here's one woodworking thing. It is a box. It is a pencil holder. The first pencil holder I ever made. So that's against a trend that I did when I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn like joinery. So I have a dovetail saw and I dovetailed all of these very, very poorly and then used wood filler to fill all the crap gaps and then oiled it and sanded it. And yeah, this is way better than the metal one, let me tell you. This holds a lot of pencils and it doesn't weigh 1,000,000 tons. So it is made out of poplar though, and poplar is kind of crap. I don't think there's any redeeming qualities to poplar, honestly. But it was really cheap, so that's why I used it. I also brought this. It's one of the bows that I made. This is a little nicer woodwork that I used to do. I made a leather handle. Yes, leather working is on my list. This doesn't really qualify as leather working. Strike plate, hickory, walnut, cherry for looks. A tip that I have not oiled. I was working on it, got it where I could fire it. Man, this thing really throws an arrow, but I got it working and then never finished finishing it with linseed oil. So that's a hard maple overlay. If you can see, it's glued into an ever so gentle reflex. So yeah, more bow nerd stuff maybe in the future projects if I ever get back into this. Though if I'm honest, that's a 55-pound bow and it would probably rip my shoulder off if I tried to fire it now. Mistleton8 maybe asks, I've been thinking you started a channel also in the hopes of doing the same thing you were doing. You should, it's fun. Channels are fun. I have been looking for videos of adding silica to aluminum to get cans more machinable with no success. Resin melts at a much higher temperature. Have you tried combining it yet? No, I haven't. But silica is silicon dioxide. That's not what you want to add. That's like glass. What you want to add is silicon, like the element silicon. It does melt very, very high, but you're not trying to melt it. You just like smash it up into, fine chunks and it will dissolve into molten aluminum, kind of like sugar will dissolve into a cup of coffee, even though the coffee is well below sugar's melting point. So that's what you want to do. I have not tried it personally, but that's what I hear. John Bork, how do I mix / pour cement? I don't really have a great answer, but CJ Saders responded with a decent answer. So good work, comments, answering other comments. Linmer Champenois? I don't know how to pronounce that. It's a cool name though. What are your tips for a new foundry man? So I'm still a new foundry man, but my tips are the same for everything. And I think it's a formula that works when you're trying to learn any new skill. First off, read a bunch. I don't mean check the internet. I mean get some books. You can get free books on pretty much anything, pretty much anywhere. So library, other places involving bays with pirates in them. Lots of places to get books. Read up actual books. Then watch some videos. And the biggest tip, this is the biggest one for trying out anything, find a community. So a forum, usually, like a forum full of people who do that thing you're trying to do. And there are forums of metal shapers. There are forums of foundry people, metal casters. There are forums of just insane people making insane custom weird looking cars. If whatever your thing is, find a group of people who are doing it, read up what they're writing, ask them questions. Then when you start, you can post your progress and they can help. So that's the biggest thing. Find people who actually know what they're doing and get them to help you. That's the best tip. Also, you can usually find really cool people in pretty much all those communities because the jerks, they don't like forums all that much. That's not entirely true. Some of the car forums are full of jerks. Some of them are awesome. So you might get good luck, you might get bad luck, but try. You learn a lot that way from other people who have already learned it and made all the mistakes before you. Tactical AR223 asks, which uses more, I'm going to assume I know what you're trying to type. It's full of typos, Tac. Which uses more oil, the van, the RX-8, or the compressor? RX-8. The compressor doesn't use much oil, and the van really leaks more oil than it uses. So yeah, RX-8. World Traveler asks, I got a question for you. Ginger or Marianne? Well, I had to look that up. So I used to watch a lot of Gilligan's Island when I was a little kid. They had it on reruns on like TV Land or some channel that the babysitter thought was child appropriate. And I didn't remember who Ginger was or who Marianne was. I remembered Gilligan, and I remembered the skipper, and that's it. That's kind of it. So I had to look them up. And I'm going to agree with the masses on this question, and I'm going to go with Marianne. So yeah, Marianne, that's my answer. Multiple people. Belt guard. I need a belt guard for the giant spinning wheel of doom that is my air compressor. If it caught my pants, like someone asks, yeah, that would suck. But you know what? And I've already had kids. It wouldn't suck that bad. Also, yeah, I probably should get a belt guard. Next, Mr. Butter asks, How do I ask a lady out? I am the wrong person to ask this question. You might think, oh, I'm married, I was successful. Yeah, I'm also out of practice. So I asked her out. Actually, I don't think I technically asked her out, come to think of it. But we've been together for we were married for 5 or 6 years, dated for years before that. And ever since that began, I have never asked a lady out. Got no experience. So I guess I'll just tell her, hey, you seem like a nice person. Want to grab a cup of coffee? That might work. Joe Garrow asks, what's your favorite form of potato? The French fry. Definitely the French fry. Tate Lennox, what kind of mic do you use? Daniel Mallet responded, I personally like a Mic Row. Yeah, Mic Row is pretty cool. I use this. It says, it's just a little pin mic. It says A2DIG ETM001. And then it came with this little thing. That's plugged into this wire going to a super old Olympus recorder. So that's what I use. It's a DS30, an ancient DS30. I got this when I was in school. Back when I was in college, I went to a music conservatory. And music theory and composition was my main thing. Although I did have to maintain a primary instrument. Violin was my instrument. I still play violin, but I would record my practices and record concerts so I could listen back and judge how much I sucked, basically. And this had a really nice job of recording. Today, though, it doesn't really work with this combination because it's too hot. I'm peaking it all the time. I might buy a new something eventually. Maybe not. It works. Next, Goodnight Walter asks, do you like gladiator movies? I see what you're doing here. And so did a couple other people. Next, Cone Dodger 240 asks, do you ever dream of being locked inside a junkyard, not allowed to leave until you can cobble together a working vehicle? Or is that just me? Yes. Every time I drive past a junkyard. I have another game you can play. If you're at a coffee shop or at anywhere and you're trapped, and you can see the parking lot, look out into the parking lot. Think, you are not trapped. That parking lot is full of stuff that you can use. What can you make out of that? Just go crazy, You want to put a Cummins diesel engine in a Miata sitting there? It's been done in real life, and it was probably ridiculous, and it was probably awesome. Next time you're at anywhere with a parking lot, try it out. I used to do that a lot of the time to pass time. You ever watch that show Junkyard Wars? That was on a long time ago. That was a good show. Some of it seemed kind of contrived, but it was still fun. I think it would be fun to try that. Especially if I was better at welding and better at a bunch of other stuff and didn't care if what I made looked halfway decent. It could be awesome. Well, I think that's about every single question. If I missed yours, I'm sorry. And this video is really long. Anyways, back to the normal schedule. I don't think I'm going to do a non-making things video again for a very long time until I forget the awkwardness of making this one. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.